Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jordan with the Laundromat Resource podcast. This is show 136, and I'm pumped you're here today because today we're talking with Kevin Lumpkin, and we are talking all things free laundromats. Kevin shares his crazy story of going to prison and getting out and how that led him into the laundromat business. Then he talks about how he's on a quest to go out and just get all the free laundromats ever. And so he's sharing that story, and he talks about all the tips that he's learned along the way of how to do that. And you get a glimpse into what it actually takes to go out and get a free quote unquote laundromat. So if that is something that you're interested in, number one, Kevin's story is wild, so it's just going to be a wild story, but there's so much good stuff in here too. We have a really great time, and I want to jump into it with him in 1 second real quick. Before we jump into it with Kevin, I want to mention we've got a mastermind induction coming up. So if you're in this business, laundromat industry, you own laundromats, or you want to own a laundromat and you want to get in a group of like-minded people, small group where you can go through and talk about what you're doing, actually move forward in your goals and encouraging each other, helping each other problem solve, all of that good stuff. Listen, this mastermind concept it's been life transforming for me. I'm in a couple different mastermind groups. I pay 5 figures to be in these mastermind groups every single year. And yet, if you join the pro community, you have the option, if you would like, to join one of those mastermind groups of other people who are like-minded in this industry. So anyways, that is coming up. So if you're interested in that, check out laundromatresource.com/pro and come join the pro community. Get all the benefits of the pro community, which are many and numerous. But also you have the opportunity to join a mastermind group. So that's awesome. And then number 2, the only other thing I wanted to mention is it's holiday season. So I want you to make sure that, number 1, you get some time with family and friends. That's what the season is all about. However, I also want to just mention that a lot of us, and I say us because I've definitely done this before, take this opportunity to just ease off the gas a little bit. But let me tell you this. If you are somebody who is in a growth phase of business, or you're trying to get into this business, this is not the time to let off the gas. This is the time to double down and work hard while everybody else is partying, and that will help you get ahead a little bit quicker. So just a little quick reminder to myself, don't ease up, make time for family and friends. That's what this is all about, and it's why we do what we do. However, don't ease up at this time of the year. It's time to ramp up. All right. Let's jump into it with Kevin. And man, I'll see you on the backside because I'm interested to hear what you guys get out of this. Kevin, how is it going, man? Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful.
Good. Where are you?
Glad to be here.
Oh, dude, I appreciate you coming on and coming to share your story and share some of your hard-earned business knowledge, laundromat wisdom with us. Looking forward to hearing more about that. We were talking beforehand. I was trying not to ask you too many questions because I always like just having these conversations and making them feel natural here. So super excited to have you on. Can't wait to hear your story. Real quick, tell us a little bit about you, where you at, and who are you, and then how'd you get in this business?
Okay, my name's Kevin Lumpkin. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. I went to school to be a police officer, so I was a police officer for 10 years. Unlucky for me, I ended up catching a federal case and ended up having to go to prison. And while I was locked up inside of prison, I became the teacher of inmates to teach them business and business concepts and things of that nature, and came home and kind of continued that thought process. And so far, I've been able to build me a couple companies. So it's kind of exciting.
Dude. Okay, well, this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. I had no idea. So, I mean, this is like a crazy story, man. How did you become... unpack that a little bit.
Okay. So, in 2011, I sold a firearm to somebody. And in 2015, the FBI knocked on my door and said, hey, that person you sold a firearm to was a felon, and we're going to charge you with selling that gun. So then I went to trial with the federal government and I lost that trial, and I ended up getting sentenced to 5 years. So in 2016, I self-surrendered to a federal prison where I would now be for the next, well, actually 4 years is what I actually did. So out of the 5 years. While I was locked up, I found a issue within the prison system. And that issue is the classrooms that's around or the subjects they teach don't really address how somebody would come home after 10, 15, 20 years of prison and successfully go back into the world. I mean, I look at prison, most people don't look at it this way, but 90% of inmates are in there for trying to make money. Yeah. So if they don't solve that as an issue, then they'll come back home and they will do what? Try to figure out how to make money. And if they don't have opportunity, they'll go back to what they were doing and they'll go back to the prison. So I started these classes, which were LLC classes, teaching people about limited liability companies and businesses that you can start under 10 grand. So that was the concept because, again, we are in jail. A lot of people don't have a lot of money. So we would identify companies like commercial cleaning companies. I would tell people, hey, you were standing on there slanging the drugs on the corner, slang hot dogs on the corner. It's the same concept, at least it's legal this time. And this was kind of just snowballed into teaching people businesses. And out of that prison, I think we put together about 100 or 200 business people who are out now successful with their companies and running them in different parts of America. So we did our job.
Dude, you're like blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever put it that way to me. Maybe I'm just missing the boat here, but nobody has ever put it that way, and it makes so much sense. 90% of people in prison are there because they're trying to make money. That is like a mind-altering concept to me. I've never even thought of that before.
Right.
That's wild. So
now you got your outliers, somebody who was arguing with each other, but go ahead.
Right. No, dude, that is mind blowing. Okay, so how did you get into a role where you were starting to teach people about, like, did you know about this going into it, or? Yeah,
so going in, so my field of study was in law enforcement. I was a private investigator, but I also studied counterterrorism. And what I did with my police badge is I went to the private sector. So I used to do a lot of like private security for different firms. And, you know, if you're some VIP person in the world, you touch down in Cleveland, well, I'm the guy who's going to come get you and protect you. So then I started taking on contracts like a banking contract. So we'd get a bank and I would go protect the bank, you know. And so I already had knowledge of business. When my case came, I wasn't able to move around. So I was literally locked inside my house for 1.5 years during my case. So I had to find another way to try to make money for my family. And I created online companies. So I created a clothing store, you know, we're just drop shipping and things like that. So through that process is kind of how I sharpened my knowledge of business a little more. And then, you know, if I go back a little bit more, my mother and father owned dry cleaners when I was younger. So it was kind of easy to just transition into business. So when I went into the prison, I went to the library and I'm walking down and I'm like reading the different courses that, you know, inmates teach inmates. So it's not taught by teachers or anything like that. And I'm looking at all the classes and I'm saying, how is this? You know, let's give an example. Paranormal activities. That's a class. Seriously, no joke. How is paranormal activities going to get a man who's been locked up since 1985 and he's going to go home in 2018 prepared to go get a job? It's not. And that's when I met up with another inmate in there. Me and him created these courses. I had my wife send me tons of books. I would read every single NOLO book out, and then I would literally break them down into small courses, and then we would go teach it.
Dude, first of all, props to you. Like, that's, I mean, I'm sure that situation was, I had to knock the wind out of you and your family. Like, real quick, how did that go? When that door knock came.
Oh man, I can remember that day like the back of my hand. It was interesting because I used to be a police officer at nighttime. So I was supposed to go and do a school because I was a school resource officer also, and I was supposed to go do the school that day morning. And I asked my wife, she's a police officer as well, and I said, "Hey, do you mind going to do the school for me? I'm kind of tired. I'm gonna go home and go to sleep." And then my daughter comes downstairs and said, "Dad, somebody's knocking at the door." And I said, "Well, you know the rules. Dad doesn't answer the door when he comes home from work because he's been working all night." They just kept knocking. I'm like, who's knocking on my door? I opened it and they said, "Hey, you know, FBI." I'm like, okay, hey, what's going on, guys? I'm same side of the law you guys are on. So why would I think you'd be here for any other reason?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, Nah, they was recruiting me for something else,
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is why we're here. And I'm like, so when they left, I'm like, called my wife, like, hey, I need a lawyer and I need one fast. Called a friend of ours, and he's like, here's the top 3 lawyers we had in Ohio. And I called him and said, hey, we got a problem, big problem. And that was the start of my issue.
Dude.
Tough.
Okay. So, well,
I worked hard for my career,
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, were you? I don't want to go too long on this, but I kind of do.
Yeah.
Were you supposed to do like a background check when you sold that, or
Nope.
what was the?
No. It was the fact that they were in trouble. The people who they caught doing something different, they were in trouble, and political. They had somebody that they could tell on, and it just so happens that it's a police officer. So it's better to have a cop in prison than it is to have somebody nobody knows. It makes for a good story, makes for a good headline, and I was just an unlucky sucker to be unlucky.
Dude, that's
Okay.
I'm trying to recoup here because that was a wild story. Like, I can't even imagine what you guys were going through. Your wife, like, how does she take that?
Oh yeah. It was tough. It was real tough on her. Because this is before I even met her. So they're talking about stuff she doesn't even know happened because she didn't even know me at that time in life. So and, we have basically a newborn child, and everything. So life got tough. Yes, it did.
Wow. I realize that was a dumb question. Like, how does she take that? But I want to give you a chance to kind of talk about that. Okay. Now that I'm sort of recouping here from this, it's so wild. First of all, props to you for putting something together. What gave you the, I don't know, like, I think a lot of people who maybe have found themselves in that situation would shut down or would just be bitter, and maybe there was bitterness and anger there. I'm sure there was some degree at least of that in there.
Of course.
But kind of despite that, you decided to teach this class to try to go help people. Like, what caused you to do that while you were in prison?
I've never really been a person who, if I can't control it, then it doesn't bother me. So that just came with just the way life hit me at 19 years old, coming into the real world of life, coming out of school, So it was always like, hey, you can't control that. So, you have to make the best of whatever situation you're currently in. And at that moment, it's like, hey, I got a knowledge. And this, if I have to be here for 4 years, you're going to call it prison. I'm going to call it school. So this is college for me. And that's how I'm going to train. And that's how I'm going to look at it. And I'm not going to take it from where all the negative I could take from it and all the things bad. I'm not going to take it from that way. I'm going to try to build on this and come back and be a better person or be better than what I was before. And it taught me a lesson. And here was the lesson. I always wanted to be a police officer. So my whole life, this was my dream. This was my destiny. And when it's gone, it was like, what now? And at that moment, it was like the world was trying to tell me that you can still help people without having a badge on. You know what I'm saying? You can still protect people. You don't have to be in that field to do it. And that was kind of like, okay, I'm waking up and seeing the message.
Yeah. Dude, it's a pretty profound lesson, right? Especially because you worked so hard to get into that position that you were at, and that was stripped straight from you, and now you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what does life look like now, and how do I can imagine, like, part of your identity is tied up in this, like, in the badge and helping people that way. And so being able to pivot, I mean, man, props to you for that.
Thank you.
I'm curious what, so, I mean, again, you like blew my mind when you were like, hey, like 90% of people, in there are in there because they were trying to make money one way or another. Right. Yeah. And I'm curious as to, like, how did you come to that realization? Because I feel like that's just a profound perspective from my point of view. And like, dude, I'm like kind of more angry at our prison system because I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
And because, like we should be doing something. We should be teaching them how to make money legit ways, right? So what gave you that perspective?
What gave me that perspective is when you hear the horror stories about jail. Well, what you don't hear is when you walk in at, here's a sheriff over here. Here's a doctor over here. Here's a lawyer over here. Here's a politician over here. So you're looking around and you're saying, wait a minute. I've been taught, or prior to this, you just think it's a whole bunch of drug dealers or people who just do the worst things until you start meeting people. And you meet a person, you be like, oh yeah, I was a doctor for 25 years. He be like, oh yeah, hey, I was the CEO of a hedge fund for 30 years. And you like, well, why are you in here? Embezzlement. Trying to make money. And then you're like, wait a minute. There's a couple people who weren't there because of that. But even the more severe cases, you're like, accidentally homicided somebody or something like that while I was trying to rob them. So you were trying to make you're still trying to make money in the process, and then it went bad. So in the end of the day, it's like, well, wait a minute. Even the most egregious offenses in here had something tied to money. Now I felt bad that I'm not in here for that. I was literally just selling a firearm, so I'm not even trying to make money. I just ended up in a situation, and it's crazy, but that was profound when it hit me, like, wow, it's just people trying to feed their families, and if there's no other way to go, this is the way people gonna go.
And you go, it's like the whole, like, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of preparation or whatever, right? So if they're going into prison for doing whatever they did and they get out, it's not like they're going to automatically do something else, because they're just going to go back to what they know, because it's the only thing they know. That's what we all do, right? So I love that you took the initiative there and started teaching classes and stuff. And it sounds like you got yourself a good education too, as you were reading through all these books and creating courses, and the whole no better way to learn than to teach.
Most definitely.
Which is pretty cool.
I like that.
Okay, so all right, so take us to the end of that, right? You're rounding out your sentence, and you're getting out. First of all, what was it like to taste freedom again? How were you feling? Were you excited? Were you bitter still? What was the situation like?
No. So throughout the process, I was never bitter. One thing. The day of, I was nervous, really nervous, and I was nervous because I came out in March 28th, 2020. And so I'm nervous because the world is shutting down. And here I am coming into it. And I'm nervous because here I am about to go to a halfway house, and I don't know if they're going to accept me. And if they don't accept me, I have to stay here for another 8 months. So I'm sitting here nervous, like, please don't. I got a job out here, just let me be. And then I come out and I'm literally at the bus stop. There's nobody here, no cars around, nobody, just me. So it's a whole new world. And I get to the halfway house and it's just like my feet are just ready to hit the ground. I mean, I'm talking to distributors, not in the laundromat, but in a completely different business that I created. And I'm just rolling, and that's been life ever since. So I've literally been putting one foot in front of the other as fast as possible since that day.
Yeah, making up for lost time a little bit, huh?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so when you got out, I mean, you said you were starting up your businesses. You're kind of putting your money where your mouth is, putting that education to work. What kind of businesses did you start coming out? So
I started a commercial cleaning company, and then I started an electronics company. So we acquired TVs, electronics, and we just sold them on Facebook and Marketplace. So April of 2020, I couldn't do the cleaning company because I had to go somewhere to where my job I had to go to the job and then come back home. So I became the GM of Popeyes. So as I'm working at Popeyes, I come home and I'll sell 3, 4, 5 TVs out my garage. So I used to buy pallets of like 50 or 60 TVs at one time. Inventory them in my garage and then test them out, and then people will come. Everybody's stuck at home now, so everybody needs a TV.
Yeah.
So I was able to scale that business to roughly, I was doing probably roughly like 20, 25,000 a month out of my garage selling TVs.
That's awesome.
Come October, now I'm out of the halfway house situation. Now I'm on probation, so now I can just move around, and I quit Popeyes and I just go full forge into the cleaning company. So the TV company is helping me get the cleaning company up and running, and within I think about 6 months into the cleaning company is able to now, the space I just showed you, is able to help that company now build this up, because it's been sustainable, doing about $250,000 every year since then. Just putting in the work and just adding to it bits and pieces here. We were just normal cleaning, then we became window washers. Now it's carpet cleaning, now it's stripping, waxing, now it's buffing, now we doing it all. And we get to the laundromats, awesome. And so
so where did the laundromats come in?
Okay, so the laundromats came in, when we had 5 months ago, actually. So
okay,
5 months ago, I took over my first laundromat. So there's a couple things that about both businesses that I see. So the electronics business started to dwindle because people are now coming back into the world, and who needs to buy 5 TVs anymore? So I started to see this shift because I'm attached to a big soccer sportsplex, and my goal was to get the customers that go back there to play soccer to now come into my store. And what I would notice is guys buy TVs, women don't really buy TVs. So I was trying to get the people who really buy the product that I'm trying to sell. Well, it's nothing but women and children walking past me, but I'm selling TVs and electronics. So I switched it to the virtual reality escape room to capture the audience that's around. When I switched it to that business, the business does pretty well, but the commercial cleaning business is what sustains it all. One of my friends told me, hey, my grandfather owns 18 laundromats, and he said you can get a laundromat, what is it called? Owner's financing. I said, never thought about that type of business. He said, yeah, car washes and storage facilities. And I'm like, that's a good idea. I said, but I don't think you can get them for free. I said, I've never heard anybody say that you can they'll just give them to you. Like, why would anybody give you anything? That doesn't make sense to me. So let me go. I think you're BSing me. So let me go see if what you're saying is true or if it's just BS. And that was April of this year. And in May, I literally acquired a first free laundromat, just took it over because the guy didn't want it anymore. And he was like, hey, I'm leaving. You can have it. And I called the landlord and worked out a lease, and that's how I got my first laundromat.
That's awesome. All right, so we need to back this up, and I want to unpack that a little bit. Okay, so your buddy kind of introduced you to laundromats, right? Because his grandpa owned a whole bunch.
Yes.
How did you go from that conversation to actually finding this laundromat? Because I get asked about free laundromats all the time. So, explain that.
Right. So me personally, again, I used to be a private investigator, so it's a lot of things that I know how to do when I go to look for something. I know exactly how to look for it. So I just went on Facebook Marketplace and typed in laundromat, right? So most people, they go to Facebook Marketplace, they might have it set to 20 mile radius of where they live at. Well, I set mine to a 500-mile radius on where I live at, which gives me a broader spectrum of look, and I put in laundromat. And it just so happens that one popped up in West Virginia. And the listing was, you can take this over as a laundromat, or you can make it whatever business you want it to be. I said, that's interesting. Let me call the number. I called, talked to the lady. She said, if you want to keep it as a laundromat, you have to talk to the person who owns the equipment in the laundromat and see if you can buy his equipment. And I said, fine. I talked to him. He was a nice guy. He's from New York, but again, it's a laundromat in West Virginia. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to go down here. I want to check it out and see if, how good of a business it really is. When I go down here, I check it out. His equipment is old. I mean, it's old. He has 26 single stack wash dryers, and 4 of them work. And he has 24 top loaders, and I think like 10 of them worked. And he has some 30 pounders, and they weren't even plugged in, and they didn't work. So I'm like, so how much are you asking for your equipment? And he was like, I want $18,000. And I'm like, I'm not a fool, but this doesn't seem like $18,000 worth of equipment. But again, I don't know anything about the laundromat business personally, so I can't tell him what he's saying is right or wrong, So I called my friend and I said, hey, can you ask your grandfather? Because I don't know, And he's like, nah, don't buy this equipment. Go get, go get Dexter. You don't even want Dexter. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. I don't want your equipment. He's like, I don't care. At the 1st of June, I'm going to take all my equipment out of here and I'm gone. So you do whatever you want to do. So I called the landlord back and I say, okay, I'll take the place over when he leaves. She gave me 3 months free rent and I signed a lease with my business partner who I brought in, and we signed a lease.
That's awesome.
That's how we got our first laundromat.
So, okay. That's awesome. Okay, so how far is this laundromat from you?
So if I leave from where I'm at now, which is my store, it'll take me 2 hours and about 25 minutes to get there. If I leave from my house, about 3 hours.
Okay. And then your partner, how far do they live?
Okay. So my partner, not partner anymore, but my partner lives 20 minutes down the road from me.
Okay.
So, yeah. So again, I don't know anything about the laundromat business. At that point, I don't know anything about this business. I now own one. Oh yeah. I'm an expert now at it, but yeah, I now own one, and I don't know what's in store, but I know it didn't go right. I can tell you that.
Okay, well, let's unpack that a little bit. What happened? Okay, so you told the landlord, "Hey, I'll take it over." And did you work out a lease with the landlord?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the lease? What was the lease like?
Yeah. So she was like, "You can sign a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. You can sign." She didn't care. You sign however long you want to sign. I said, "Well, it don't really make sense for me to, buy some equipment and put it in here for 1 year. Like, that's not going to make any sense." I say, "But maybe we'd do the 3 to 5 year just to kind of see," because he couldn't tell me his numbers as to what he was making. She doesn't know. So I'm like, I don't know. So let's just do 3 year. And if you let me come back, this is when I started. Now I'm on YouTube, and now I'm getting I'm just laundromatting everybody, whoever's in the laundromat business, just follow them so I can get some information, And I'm like, okay, let's do a 3 year lease, and let's just redo it, and we'll go to there. And we signed a 3 year lease, me, her, my business partner, and we got the laundromat.
Okay. And so you did the lease negotiations. Did the guy end up taking his equipment when he left?
Yes, he did. So when we came back down to start our retool, I guess, there's nothing there. It's completely empty now.
Okay. Then how did you get new equipment? Talk about that process.
Okay, so at that point, what we did, we repainted the whole facility. I didn't want to go buy. So me and my partner was never looking to use our credit to go get new equipment. We were going to just go around and buy equipment from other operators, other laundromat owners, put it in there just to get the doors back open again, start making some money so we can really fill out the location. Again, we're not in this business. We don't know. So that was the goal. So immediately I went, it was a laundromat over here, a guy, he owns a whole bunch. He sold me 4 Speed Queens, 35 pounders for $2,000. And we were just going to buy top loaders. Say I get 10 top loaders over here for $2,000, and I'll get, some top loaders over here for $800. And we just going around buying them. So anywhere I could find them, I went and tried to buy them.
At what point, how long did it take you to actually get the doors open when you took over?
Okay. So we opened our doors, what is this, October 13th is when I opened the doors. We started in June.
Okay.
We were supposed to, when we started in June, yep, we were collecting equipment.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to find dryers. But when we started in June, when we took over in June, we were supposed to open July 1st. So that was the goal, just to close it, open it back up. Because again, the guy just removed his stuff. We just putting the same things back. It's just updated more, We're going to put the same top loader back in. It's just instead of it being made in 98, it's made in 2018, So we really didn't need to do a lot of different things. That was the goal, and to open up July 1st. Then me and my partner kind of got on a hang up about the electrical. The other machines that we bought needed a 220 line installed, and he didn't feel comfortable that I knew how to install it. I told him, hey, you know me, I'll go watch YouTube and I'll sit and study it, and we got to get it done. But I told him it didn't seem like the laundromat was the type of business that you can hire a professional to come do everything for you, because now you start running out of money. This is when some failures started happening, not understanding the business truly. So I put all the costs together. This is what it's going to cost us for machines. This is what it's going to cost us to do this. You bring $10,000, I bring $10,000, and we should have enough money to put some decent machines in here, get the place open. Well, here's some costs that I couldn't anticipate. How much gas is it going to cost me to drive from Ohio to West Virginia? How much is it going to cost me to go pick up 15 top loaders? Well, what type of truck fits 15 top loaders? So now I have to rent that truck. On top of renting that truck, I have to drive from wherever I picked those top loaders up from let's say, the upper peninsula of Michigan, which take 10, 15 hours to get up there. Then I got to drive it from all the way up there, all the way down to West Virginia, and then from West Virginia all the way back to Ohio. Well, now I didn't spend $2,000-$3,000 in gas, and those were the costs that weren't really there initially. So that money ran through so fast. I mean, it was crazy. And I'm funding all this deal. All my deals I fund myself. So it was getting tough. Now he wants out.
Okay.
So he wants out of the business 3 days before we open. And it's like,
why did he want out? He's like, it's too tough or what? It's not expected.
No, I think he was dealing with a lot in his personal life. He had a lot going on and for somebody who, it was always, you just put the money up, man, and I'll go do the work. That's just how I am. It doesn't matter. I don't have to go to bed. I'll just go do the work. A lot of people's lives aren't structured that way. A lot of people don't know how to stay woke for 3 days. Well, I'm different. So if I got to get it done, it's got to get done. And I don't think he was ready to accept that. I'll give you an example. I don't really care to really think about, if I need something to go to business, I need it, right? So if I have $1,000 to do it, I'll just go spend $1,000 to go get it. It's nothing. I'll just make it back somewhere else. But when you are dealing with people who work for a living, their mindset can't be like, I'll just go spend $1,000 and whatever. Me, I could go do a job and make it up fast. You see? So now I'm starting to see that, hey, I got to put myself around people who are running in the same spaces as me. I'm 100% business. I don't have a normal job, and I can go and make $15,000 on one job. Well, most people don't make that 3-4 months of them working at a normal job. So because of that, I think as I was spending money, okay, we need that truck. Okay, we need the truck. We got to get it. Hey, we need that equipment. We need the equipment. I think that it was kind of like him sitting back and saying, I can't keep up with that. Kevin woke up Wednesday morning, and he's been working at the laundromat from Wednesday morning to Friday night. And then he's going to drive from West Virginia back to Ohio to run his escape room. And then he's going to go do a commercial cleaning company. And then he's going to go back down to West Virginia. Well, I need to get some rest in between there. Well, Kevin don't, And because I'm like that, I think a lot of people are like, nah, I'm not working this hard. This guy's crazy. And so I found myself alone in the laundromat business.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it's true. Like, there's not that many people that can run at that kind of pace. That's for sure. But even, I think anybody who's in the entrepreneur space, you're built a little different, right? And maybe they're not at the level you're at. I don't think I'm at the level you're at. But that mindset, even more so, I think, than, the energy level that you have, that mindset of like, hey, whatever I need to get it done, I'm going to get it and get it done. And then I'll figure it out along the way. That mindset is huge, and not everybody has that. And I think you nailed it. Like that 9-to-5 job kind of lulls you into, getting that steady income. So when the money goes out and you know exactly how much is coming back in your 9-to-5 job, and you're like, I'm seeing more money going out than coming in. It's hard to adjust that mindset to say, no, I'm investing in this and I'm building something here that's going to carry more value and bring in more income on the back end. So, I think you nailed it, that you need to be running with the kind of people that have the same sort of mindset as you. Unfortunate, though, that it worked out like that. How did you and your partner meet in the first place, or decide to partner?
Through a mutual friend. He again, because I'm business, people bring me around and they're like, "What do you do for a living?" And I'm like, "Oh, I own a virtual reality escape room." And they're like, "What's that?" And then a lot of people throw parties up here at my store. So because of that, I meet a lot of people, and we just became friends, hanging out. Meet his family, met my family, and we just became friends. And I have a virtual reality roller coaster, and me and him partnered on that deal on a VR roller coaster. And then it was just like, hey, we were looking to do the real estate, buy and flip houses. So we were going into that, but then we just weren't really finding anything. So I just said, hey, maybe if we pivot into this laundromat thing, we'll be able to, come up with more capital, have more cash to be able to go find better deals. That's just kind of how me and him, we're still friends, we still hang out. So, took a little while to get back to that point, but, we are cool.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so you've got this laundromat. You've been hustling around, buying up equipment, trying to get that stuff installed. Did you install all of it yourself?
Yes, 100%. So I went and I found another laundromat owner who was literally like 10 minutes away from my store. He had some double stack dryers and the deal was going to fall apart. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm broke. I don't have any more money. I'm probably 15,000 into this project. If you can just look out for me and I'll pay you. He's like, yeah, sure. Hey, let's go install them. So we loaded them up, took them to my store. And that night, between that night and the next night, I literally installed. I had to lift a 600-pound dryer up on the lips that they sit on, but that took about 7 hours because I had to do it by myself. But I got it all in. So far I've been able to. I have 9 double stacked dryers. So far I was able to get 6 of them hooked up to get going. So what I had to kind of do was, because all my commercial cleaning company is set up to support me in my personal life, is also set up to support this business right here, while this business finds its rhythm. It was never set up to support a laundromat business. It was never set up to support multiple companies. It wasn't put together to do that, but it's doing it. But I needed to get the doors open. I had to take some pressure off of that. So I had to take out a home equity loan to get some pressure off of it, to get the rest of the equipment to get the door open. And one day I went down there with, I think, 24 top loaders and the dryers and a whole bunch of metal, and I started going to work. And that day somebody walked to the door and they said, hey, are you open? And I said, no, I'm not, but you know what, those washing machines over there, they do work, and if you want to use them, you can. And they said, fine, okay. And then 3 days later I opened the door. That was that was Friday the 13th.
That's awesome. That's actually my daughter's birthday, so that was just a good day all the way around. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so dude, here's what I love about this story, right? Is like so many people, and and I understand this too. So this is not a knock on anybody, but so many people are afraid to step out and start a business, buy a business, do a business, or whatever. And because it's scary, it legitimately is scary. Like, you could lose everything. You could find yourself in a situation where you're 15 grand down, and if somebody doesn't help you out, you're out of luck, right? Like, so it can be scary that way.
Right.
But what I love about this story is, this is like a story of grit from like beginning to end, right? Well, we're not at the end yet, but from 100%. Beginning to now, at least. And it sounds like you got some more grit left to have to keep going. But we'll get but I love the grit that you have, where you're just like, I'm just gonna do what it takes to make it happen, right? And that's the mindset shift that I think is really difficult to make, especially if you're coming from like a W-2 job or something like that, where you're like, you know what, no matter what, I'm just gonna make it happen, right? No matter what it takes. If I have to stay up all night installing dryers, I'll stay up all night. If I have to let somebody use a washer while I'm still kind of installing stuff and trying to figure out things when we're not technically open, I'll do that, right? If I have to drive all the way to the northern part of Michigan and then all the way to West Virginia, I'll do that, right? Like, there's that grit and that mindset is critical.
Yeah. 100%.
So I love that. Okay, so you said you let this guy or gal or whoever it was do laundry, and then 3 days later you opened up. So take us back to Friday the 13th, and what was it like opening the doors for that laundromat?
Okay, so I now have all the equipment ready. Everything's kind of cleaned up. I know I'm opening up Friday the 13th. The person has come to test a couple machines, so I now know that everything could work, but there could be still problems. I don't know. My attendant is like, hey, are you open? And I'm like, yeah, you got a job. Come on, let's go. It's time to work. And I sit there, and people start coming and use stuff, and there's problems. I got a washing machine that's not working over here. I'm trying, why is this washing machine not working? Oh, I forgot to turn on the water to this one. Okay, and this washing machine's breaking over here, and it's like, oh, not that washing machine. Okay, I got to take that one out and then replace it with this one because I had some extra ones in the back. And it's just the filling out process of a laundromat business. I got some big ones over here that wants to run down the street because I didn't bolt them down right. Hey, I got to catch those, bring those back, And it's just like, okay, I'm learning. So then the day ends with us making some money. So it's like, okay, I got to the point where I can see it more so than anything now. Let me go back and move some things around and make it a lot better, improve some things, but just keep a close eye on what to do. And that day was like, okay, step 1 has been completed. Now let's move to step 2. How are we gonna get some new equipment? No. And that was kind of how my mindset was on that day.
Yeah, dude. Well, first of all, congrats on getting that thing. Like, I feel like you just willed it open, right? You just like, just 100%. Straight up, you just made it happen with pure effort.
Yeah, it had to open. Yeah, like it had to open.
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, so you got that first day under the belt. How did you let people know that you were opening?
Okay, so one good thing so the story I didn't tell about my laundromat was it's been there since 1959. The person who made it a laundromat, who ran it until she passed away, the attendant at the laundromat when I met the guy who owned it was her sister. So because her sister has been literally in this laundromat since 59, you can imagine how old this lady is. Everybody knows her. So when she was like, well, I'm the attendant for this guy, but if you don't want me to work for you, then it's okay. And I was like, nah, like, I hear you're the person that everybody knows. So when we get open, all you have to do is talk and everybody's going to listen. So I just kept her on, and the lady who owns the building, they've been in this community for, since the creation of the community, or since they were born. So they have their ears to the street. So it was just like, hey, guys, we're open. Let all your friends know that we're open. And, we got Facebook, of course. We have a couple marketing things we have going on with Marketplace. Just, hey, now we're open. And then I just started sharing it in different forms. So what I would do is our laundromat is located in Moundsville, West Virginia, right? So what I would do is I would go on Facebook and I would just type in Moundsville, West Virginia, and see every single page that popped up, whether it's a church page, the fire department's page, it really didn't matter. And I would go in there and I would join their group. And then I would say, hey, guys, the laundromat's open. Here's our flyer. And the first week, it was kind of slow. Second week, people started sharing that flyer around that city, but they were doing it electronically between themselves. And ever since the 13th, we went from, $200 in a week. Then the next week, we're doing like $250. And then next week is $280. And then, hey, that's a whole week. And then all of a sudden, now I'm getting a call and say, hey, the light come on the machine. Well, that means that in 2 days now we was just making last week. So now I can start to see, okay, now it's picking up to where people are starting to really get involved and really like this thing. And it's only 3 laundromats in this community. And the other one is owned by the guy who owned this one. So we can, condition that one's in. And the other one wasn't built for the community. It was built for its own special RV community. So that's kind of how we kind of got the word out. We're lucky on that part.
Dude, I love that. Yeah. No, I love that. And it's all about like the who thing it's real, man. It's if you know the right people who know the community and stuff, like that's how it works, right? That's how it works. And so I love that. Real quick, I'm curious now.
Yeah.
How often are you going, making that 2.5 hour drive to this laundromat, and how are you managing that laundromat right now?
Okay, so I go once a week guaranteed. That was the whole plan. So what I did was I adjusted the hours here at the VR escape room so that when the VR escape room closes Saturday night, so we're open from 4 to midnight. Saturday night at midnight, I hit the road and I head to West Virginia. Give me an Airbnb down there, and I'll stay through Sunday, and then Sunday night I'll hit the road and come back home. So that gives me opportunity to fix anything that may happen that week. That gives me opportunity to do the coin collection down there and just evaluate what needs to be done to continue to change the face of this particular laundromat. And I have an attendant who goes and opens it up for me and does all of that. I just hired her and brought her in, but she does wash and fold also, so she has customers of her own. So it kind of just worked out that way for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I mean, because that's a long way, and I get asked a lot of times, like, can you own a laundromat far away like that? And one of the things I say is that one of the crucial things you've got to have is the right person helping you manage it on the ground, right? Like at the actual location. Sounds like your attendant who's been there forever that's your person, right? Who's helping you run this business and make it possible for you to be so far away.
Her and the landlord also. So, yeah.
And the landlord. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So I have a segment of the podcast called Down to Business, and that's just where we dig a little bit deeper into the details of your business. So remind us one more time, where is this laundromat located?
This particular laundromat is Moundsville, West Virginia. We're looking to do here in Cleveland, Ohio, and then we have one in Louisiana, Monroe.
Oh, you have one in Louisiana too?
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
What? Where did that come from?
Yeah, we have 3. So, and we're looking to close on 5 within the next couple months.
So talk to me about number 2 and number 3.
Okay, number 2 came about in Monroe, Louisiana. I did the same thing I did in West Virginia. I did the same thing I did in West Virginia. I just moved the cursor over to the middle of the country, or I moved it to Texas, or I moved it to California. I mean, I check every state. There's a free laundromat somewhere in every state. Can you find it? So I found one in Monroe, Louisiana. I contacted the owner. Same story, but this guy was an operator of a laundromat. So he operated the laundromat and he owned the building. And he just basically told me, like, look, man, I suck at this. Like, I'm just not good at operating a laundromat. And if somebody can come operate it out, whatever you need, you can have. He said, I got the distributors here. I know I'm a realtor. I know the place, but whatever you need to be successful, you let me know and we can put something together. I just told him, like, hey, man, I need about, 6 months free rent. I want to sign a 15-year contract with you with 2 5-year extensions. You can get 3% increases on your rent. We agreed to a 90 cents a square foot, and I am actually leaving November 17th through the 20th. I'll actually be in Louisiana for the first time looking at that store, and I take it over January 1st. Number three came about because I went to a laundromat here in Cleveland, and the guy was trying to sell it for $60,000. He was a distributor from ATAG. And I was like, I kind of look for like infrastructure, but we don't really look for to spend money to buy it from you. And then one day he just called me out of the blue and was like, hey, I got an idea. Meet me at this address, but you need to sign a non-disclosure agreement that if I show you this, that you'll use me as the person who gives you the equipment. I said, okay, let's go see it. Drove about 25 minutes away from my house to a 3,400 square foot laundromat that's just sitting there waiting for equipment. And I'm like, all right, let's get on it. And the realtor got the landlord, and I'm like, hey, this is the terms I need. If you agree to the terms, we can take this over. So we're still waiting for that landlord to agree to our terms.
Dude, this is incredible stuff. Like I had no idea that's where we were going with this, and you're already looking for more. So what was it that made you think, okay, I've done this first one, now I'm going to go get some more? What made you decide to do it, especially after the struggles of getting that first one going?
So I started, I bought Danny D'Angelo's course, so I started learning on him. I started learning from Joe, Chloe, Laundromat Millionaire, you. I mean, I'm just soaking up all the information. And then I really sat down and I said to myself, and I even told my wife this, that the way I identified this business and the reason why I liked it so much, so it's not necessarily if I can get it done, because I know I can, just because, again, like you said, I got the grit to just, it's going to get done because it has to get done. But what I liked about the business more than basically any business that I have currently is that the foundation of it is yours. And that's what I liked. It's a business that I can literally see out 15, 20, 25 years from now. It's a business like my cleaning company. I have contracts in commercial cleaning, right? An employee can come into one of the contracts and not like my employee, and I can lose that contract. I just lost, let's say, a $70,000 a year contract because one person didn't like another person. That's just the nature of that business. Nature of the VR escape room is it's an entertainment business. So if times get hard with people, why would they then want to come and give me money to play virtual reality escape room if they don't have the money? But a laundromat doesn't work like that. It doesn't operate like that. It's a needed resource in the community. And it's something that I believe that I can put the foundation of my family's life on for a long period of time. And I told myself that I'm going to go around the United States of America and I'm going to find all of them, as many as I can get. And the first one is what actually showed me the blueprint is, you just find that one person who's just like, hey, I'm down here. I can help you. And it's like, okay, you become my business partner. You become the person who's going to help me build this for this community that you're from. And it's just like that helping thing people think again,
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. I think that's again, it's just, straight grit from beginning to end, and taking, there's I forget, I don't know if it's Grant Cardone, but somebody wrote, I think it's Grant Cardone. He wrote Be Extreme Be Obsessed or Be Average. And you've got that vibe where you're like, I'm obsessed. Like I've got a model that I like, that I think I can duplicate, multiple times. And so I'm not going to go find another one. I'm going to go find all of them. Right. It's like that. Like,
correct.
They're all mine. Like I'm going to find all of them. Right. So if you're listening to this right now, you better get off your buns.
You better get them up because I'm coming.
Trying to do this because he's coming. He's
for
all of them.
100%. Oh yeah. When I touch down in Louisiana on the 17th, I'll go from Louisiana to Arkansas to Tennessee, back down to Louisiana again. I got to go scout in Arkansas that I talked to the guy. Another one in Tennessee that I'm looking at. And if I'm lucky, North Carolina, New York, Virginia, I've identified a lot of them. And I call the owners and I say, hey, I'm in Ohio. Give me some time, but I'm going to touch down in your state. And when I do, let's do some business.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love the mindset. I love the grit. I love the tenacity. And the obsession, man. I'm digging it, and especially, coming from your, just sort of the origins of your story, right? Like this is not a path that you were aspiring to, not a path that you were heading down, right? You were in the law enforcement, the PI game, and now this is like a sharp left turn that you were forced to take. Right, and you're out here getting it done, and you're making the best of it. And not only that, you're trying to go big here, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, so let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about. We're still in the down to business, but I got sidetracked because I didn't know there were more laundromats here. You're rolling them out quick. I love it.
Yeah.
So and again, you basically just started this search. Well, when did you start searching for your first laundromat?
In May.
May. Right, and we're in November right now when we're doing this interview, so not very long here. What do you have your in that West Virginia store? What do you have your VIN prices at right now?
Okay, my VIN prices are scatterbrained. Okay, so I got a machine that you can wash your clothes at $1.50. I got a machine that you can wash your clothes at $1.25. I got a machine that you can wash your clothes at $5, and I got one at $2.75. So it's scatterbrained. So actually, today has been a really good day because I was able to acquire 12. See, I got 12 lines and 12 lines behind. So whenever I do retool it, I need to do 12 and 12. So today I was able to acquire 12, I think it's 22 and a half pound hips. I just got those today. They didn't come in. They'll come in next week. So those VIN prices now, the ones that I have, the coin slides. So, you can only take the coin slides up to $2. So because you can only take the coin slides up to $2, that's the reason why I got a machine that you can wash your clothes for $1.50. So I'll pull all of those ones out and then replace them with the now front loaders. And then now I'll VIN those prices at the correct price now. And then now my top loaders, now I can move the prices to where they really need to be. My 35 pounders will now be set in line with all of those. So that'll be happening within the next week. Our dryer is 25 cents for 6 minutes.
Cool. All right. So is your the lady in the West Virginia store, is she there all day? How are you running that laundromat? Is she there just part of the day? Is she hanging out all day? How's
Yes.
that working?
Yeah, so we open at 8 and we close at 10. So she's in and out all day. So it's a since it's West Virginia, they have these like internet casinos. So it's an internet casino built next to the laundromat. So kind of like her friends kind of work at the internet casino. So she's kind of like back and forth. Or if she needs to go home for a couple hours, she can go home. It's kind of like do what you want, you know. Just make sure that the machines get clean. Make sure the facility. Hey, if somebody loses some quarters somewhere, or you know something goes wrong, just give me a call, and hey, I'll be on my way. Like I didn't. Was it Wednesday? Yeah, she called me Wednesday. That's not a day that I go to West Virginia. That was the day that I'm here at the store. And she said, hey, the light on the machine came on for the coins. And I was nervous because I remember one time it came on and it was because a quarter got stuck and it was only $10 in there. So now I got to drive 3.5 hours just to fix a $10 problem, you know, $10 in here. So I was nervous that when I was going down here that it wouldn't be money actually in the machines. But we actually did pretty well when I went down here because the machine was empty. So that was good that I didn't have to waste that time. But that was Wednesday. So I went down Wednesday, left here at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I got back at midnight. So when I get down there, it was out of quarters. So we actually did good for a 2-day period because I was just down there Sunday morning. I left. So to come back Wednesday and see that we're out of all the quarters are in my machine and we have cash in here was kind of like, oh man, maybe I did the right thing by sticking this thing out, you know. And I think it's refreshing to her because she's like, I call Kevin and say, hey, this happened to this machine or this has happened. And within an hour or two or a couple, the same day he's here to do something, you know. But that's because I have flexibility in my schedule to be able to do these things, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So how, like right now, I mean, you're spending a lot of time traveling because you're going, once a week there and you're leaving Saturday nights and come back Sunday nights, right?
Yep.
How often are you having to go more than one day a week?
So during the process of building, I would go down there like on a Friday and stay down through Sunday so I can kind of get a lot of work done. Now that it's kind of up and running, I literally it's just that day. Now I know that I'm going to have to go more because the more now it's open, people are getting the word, hey, this is open. You can come wash your clothes here. That means it's just going to be more use. That means that the machine's going to fill up faster. That means that, hey, I might have to go down here 2-3 times in a week. That might be a reality for me, but as long as the money is there and it allows me to do it, then I have no problem. So me personally, I'm also doing something personally, like I'm creating destinations that I don't mind being at. So, hey, me and my wife want to go on a vacation. Hey, let's go to Louisiana. Hey, let's go to North Carolina. Hey, let's go to West Virginia. Now it's a reason to go here, not just we're just down here spending money. There you go. So that's kind of why, hey, me and my wife want to go on a nice little trip to Louisiana. Hey, we're going to be 3 days here. Hey, do some work down here. And if we have one in 50 states, then we can go anywhere, right?
That's exactly right. I'm still trying to get one in Hawaii so I can go right off my trips to Hawaii over here.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
Belize or something,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a number, like I'm aspiring to X number of laundromats, or is it just like as many as I can get? Do you have
I have a number.
A set goal?
100.
What is it? That's
100.
I expected nothing less from you.
Yeah. It's just funny because I told my wife that yesterday. I said we're going to have 100 laundromats across the United States.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so we have a segment of the podcast called Secret Sauce.
Okay.
And that is, what's your best tip for current owners, maybe something that's working well for you, but your best tip for current owners to help them improve their laundromats?
One tip I could use to improve the business would be to allow the customer to have a voice within your business. My customers actually, which is kind of shocking, they actually hit me up on Facebook a lot, but I think that's because now they see that they can. But it's just let them have a voice. Hey, what would you like down here? Tell me the size of equipment you like. I don't know if it was your podcast or somebody else, but they gave me a great idea. Go around to the other laundromats, see the biggest size equipment that they have, and then go get a bigger equipment and now say you got the biggest equipment in this town. And it was like, huh. So I asked my attendant, hey, what do you think people, what size? Oh yeah, they really like the big size because of this, or they really like this. And just, it's not my business. I'm just the face of it. I'm just running it. It's their business because they wash their clothes. I don't wash their clothes, so they need to tell me what they want more than anything. So it's kind of like that customer feedback is necessary for me to really build a successful business. It's easy to take it personal.
I love that. It's not my business. I love that it's not my business. It's their business. That mindset, that mentality is awesome. And I love that advice to give your customers say in how their business is run and what it looks like. So I think that's great advice.
I mean, for my situation, I have to understand that I don't live in these places. So I can't come in and be the big bad wolf or the big bad boss. I have to come in and kind of like be more humble because, again, I know nothing about Moundsville, West Virginia. I know nothing about Louisiana. I don't know about these places. So the people who do know is the people who are from here. So because of that, I have to come in with ears. Hey, tell me what you guys want and let me go make it happen.
I love that. We have another segment called Pro Tips, and Pro Tips is for, what advice do you have for people like you maybe 6 months ago, people who are trying to get their first deal, trying to get their foot in the business? What's your best piece of advice for those people?
If I'm being honest, don't. What? if my situation is a lot different than most, but if you're not ready to work, don't do this. If you're not ready to put in the work, find something else. It's tons of other businesses that don't require upfront so much from you. And I believe that this is a business that, yes, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years in, you start to relax a little bit. But in the first portion of this, it is tough. And if you're not ready to be beat up, then don't go. Don't do it. That's kind of my advice for that.
Yeah, and that's like just hard hitting advice, though. That's first of all, nobody's ever given the advice don't get in the business. But I think, and especially doing it how you're doing it like that. You're right, man. You're running all over the country. You're sourcing materials from and equipment from different places. You're trying to get it all together in your one place. You think it's going to take a month, it takes 4. You know what I mean? Like the growth is not there right away, and it's slow growing early on, and you're traveling a long way to do it too. So I think that's great advice for someone, especially because one of the common messages around here is that this is an easy business and passive business, and while it's simple, it's not easy and it's not passive either. So great advice, I think.
Yeah, that's probably the one thing I learned. The one lesson that I learned. And when I look at people and they be like, hey, I want to go in the laundromat business, it's kind of like I can fill them out easily. Like, no, you don't. Even if you have it easy, even if you go find a building and you go and you want to get the equipment and you just have everybody else do the work for you, if you think it's that easy, then, good luck. Because, something's going to go wrong. You're dealing with water, gas, natural gas. How many times I get a call, hey, I smell gas. I got to go down there and fix a dryer. Hey, I need this machine to be cut off. Or I got to shut all of the water off in the store just to fix this one machine. If you're not ready for that, and you can't, this isn't the business that you throw money at. So you can't throw money at problems in this business or you'll go broke.
Yeah, awesome advice. All right, the last segment that we have here is called Recommended Resources. And what resources can you recommend to people to help them improve their business or themselves personally?
If we're talking about the laundromat business, your podcast is great. I like Joe is a Joe investment guy. I like the mix that he brings to the industry. Chloe, I like just her communication, her upbeat attitude about life. I like Danny's just rock hard demeanor. Like he's right to the point and he's telling you what it is. And I enjoy people just being straightforward with me in that aspect. Outside of that, if you looking to get into the laundromat business, go learn about electrical, go learn about plumbing, go learn about these. You need to become the best plumber you can become. You need to become the best electrician you can become. You need to understand how machines that you're going to use to try to make money from, how they actually work, how they run, and the different parts associated with them. So if you're that person who buys the machine and you take the manual and you just throw it to, now read the manual, because it'll help you get through a lot of problems you're going to face in this business. Whether you want to or not, they're going to come your way. Whether the machine is brand new or is used, it's going to break.
Yeah, great advice. And, it's interesting. I've never had anybody say, I don't think, go learn electrical, go learn plumbing. So I think that's, way to bring the unique stuff all day today. It's been super good, and sharing your story is incredible story. Holy cow, dude. And still, for me, it's still like a little bit like, holy cow, did that really happen? And for you, I'm sure it's that and some.
Right.
But, you haven't let it hold you back. You're still getting after it there. So, one last question before I ask you how people can, get in contact with you if they want to ask you any questions. When is the school coming out here? Like you led this school while you were in prison. When's the school for the rest of us coming out?
So I kind of started it when I came out. It was a passion of mine. So we created a company. It was called Black Entrepreneurs of America. And we were looking to put that together. But the more and more I go into business, the more and more I know that I really don't want to be the mouthpiece. I leave that up to the YouTube. I put videos out on YouTube also, but I don't really do it to get a following. I just do it because it's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting to be able to talk about knowledge that you have. So I let the experts be the experts. I'm the guy in the background who you can bring forward every once in a while, but I don't know if I really want to teach. I've learned through that. Again, I've turned on at least 70 people to the commercial cleaning business, and those people still have to call me. Hey, I'm facing this problem, and I'm thinking in my head, hey, you want to know the problem I'm facing? Okay. So for me, it's like, that's great, but I don't think I want to go that path quite yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make it my job to work on changing your mind on that, because I think it'd be awesome. Okay. To have you teaching those business skills, because you know what, it's one thing to teach prisoners in prison how to make money, and again, that was a mind-blowing concept for me, but it's another thing to teach them before they get into prison so they don't end up there, right? And
I like that. I like that.
There's some pretty big opportunities there too, so we'll keep working on that. Maybe me and you will powwow on that a little bit and think through it a little bit more, but dude, this has been incredible. Thank you again for sharing your story, just being so vulnerable, sharing, your roots in entrepreneurship, and those are some pretty tough roots to deal with, right? And you were here and you were open and shared that story and how you got into this business. So I appreciate you coming on, and I know a ton of people are going to love this episode and get a ton out of it. If anybody wants to ask you a question, is there a good place they can go to ask you that question?
Yeah, they can. We're on the Wash Laundromat on YouTube. We also, it's twashlaundromat@gmail.com. That's the name of our company, is the Wash Laundromat. So you can kind of find us on there. We're on Facebook, the Wash Laundromat, Instagram. So you can also check out our VR escape room, Lumpkin's VR escape room on Instagram. So
nice, Lumpkin's VR. Yeah, dude, I love that you got such a diverse set of businesses too, like the cleaning business, the virtual reality escape room, and laundromats. It's great. Yeah, dude. I love every second of this conversation.
Yes, sir.
Dude,
yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming on, and really
no problem.
Thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you.
You too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We'll do it again soon. All right, I hope you guys love that interview with Kevin. It was so much good stuff. His story, I didn't know any of that story before we hit record. A lot of times I try to just not learn too much in the front end so that I can learn it as you guys are learning it in the interview. And that was a wild ride that Kevin took us on. So kudos to him. Love his drive and ambition. But I'm curious, what's your one tangible takeaway that you are going to implement this week? Pick something, put it into action. Maybe it's, hey, you know what? I see the level of activity that Kevin is doing and the results he's getting, so I'm going to up my level of activity. Maybe it's something completely different. But no matter what it is, pick something, one thing, put it into action this week, and maybe go share it on the forums, laundromatresource.com/forums. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.